What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Everybody, Wednesday. Let's do the date this week. September 18th, 2024. I'm here with Bet Big Brad. He's on the left side of the screen. And then the man that doesn't move, it's B1G Wilson. He'll be on the right side of the screen. Of course, my name is Kent from Casual Big Ten. We're here to give you the Week 4 picks in the Big Ten for football. But first, Brad, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing okay, brother. How are you?
Doing all right. Doing all right.
Good,
Last
good.
week we led with some Lions talk, and I'll go over to Wilson to start this because I have my Lions shirt on. Can Jared Goff get some help, like to pick up a win this week?
He needs to help himself, man. He is the biggest issue the Lions have.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Name a bigger issue.
Are we on Monday Night Football this week?
No. They play Arizona.
Arizona. For some reason, I thought it was Seattle because I knew Seattle was the Monday Night Football game. But
I think that's the following week.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Good to know. We'll stay right with Wilson because, as I put it up on the screen here, the hottest man in sports gambling right now last week went, I think this is the right ticket that I have up on the board, 14-7. Is this right, Wilson?
That is correct, sir.
Holy shit, bro. What's going on with you?
I don't know. I've made 0 bets gambling, so maybe I should start this year, huh?
I think you should because I lost over $100 last weekend because I made lots of bets gambling. Here's what you gave us, though, as your locks. I thought I had it denoted on here. I do. You gave us Indiana -3 against UCLA.
Win.
You gave us Washington -5 against Washington State. And then, of course, I'm looking for the last one here. You gave us Maryland -3 on the road at Virginia. Tell us about your thought process and how you felt about those 3 picks.
I was real confident about all 3. Just the Huskies let me down. They just couldn't get it done in the Apple shootout or whatever they call that rivalry. But honestly, the Indiana game never in doubt. You know, it's good to see the Fighting Turtles come back after a tough loss to Michigan State too. Get a nice road win. I'll give that a nice road win category for them.
I put Maryland in the category of teams that I will probably never figure out when it comes to gambling. It's just so difficult with them and all the picks. But once again, Wilson, we'll get to the overall standings here in just a second. But 14-7, this guy just cannot miss lately. Moving on to the next guy on the screen, it's going to be me. I went 9-12. It is the first time that any of us 3 went below 500 for a week. I'm not happy about it. I'm also not very excited that last week was the week that we picked locks to count as 2 because the only one I got right was Indiana -3 against UCLA. We've already talked about that. I am furious about the Illinois Central Michigan over. Both of those teams showed up to that game and pretended like they've never played offense before. I don't know what was going on in that, so I lost that one. And then the most egregious one was I went Purdue +10. I mean, did you guys watch that game? Because I watched it in its entirety. Did you see it, Brad?
I didn't watch a snap.
Oh, man. Dude, it was like a train wreck that I could not look away from. Like, it just felt like – because not only did I have Purdue, like, on the picks – +10, I went and teased them +19.5. And that wasn't even close. I was like, this is going to stop at some point. Purdue's going to show up, and they just never did. What's that?
I told you with my locks. I told you Notre Dame was going to come back and get refocused and beat the shit out of them.
Well, I got yours on the screen now. So Notre Dame was the first one. You also gave us Wisconsin. You did say last week in your defense, though, you said that you were basically picking that to try to pick up some points. So I don't really hold your feet to the fire on that one. But you also gave us Indiana. We went 3 for 3 picking Indiana. Obviously, we all had the same pick, but that was the easiest one. Any thoughts about the other 2, though, Brad?
No, I won some real money on that Indiana game. That was for sure a lock. I felt confident about the Notre Dame one. And then, yeah, like you said, Wisconsin was just, I was trying to throw something against the wall and see if it would stick. It did not stick. But you got to try some things sometimes, you know? I got to catch up to Wilson.
Sorry, I was just making sure the stream is still healthy. Go ahead.
In fuego.
Dude is on fire. Let's go to those overall standings for just a moment, if you guys don't mind. We have Brad listed at the top, but he is not in first place. Let me make this a little bit smaller because I'm covering up Brad's face right now. We have Brad listed at the top. He is this right? This is right. 43, 37, and 1, 54%. I'm one game behind you, so you guys can just see that right on the screen, or you can do the math in your head. But Wilson, 10 games in front of Brad right now, 11 in front of me, 53, 27, and 1, a 66% hit rate. Wilson, again, I must ask, what is going on?
Feels good. Couldn't tell you what's going on. Just going purely off vibes. But I did so bad last year that I think they're just averaging out.
That's the part that I'm confused about, is because you did so bad last year, like
Right?
you just said. I don't understand this.
Pure vibes. Vibes
Doesn't
are
make
good.
sense to me.
Were you going off of vibes last year too?
Yeah.
So nothing changed.
Yeah.
Perfect. Brad, 10 games back right now from first place, but still respectably over 50% hitting right now. With 11 weeks to go, I believe, or 10 after today, there's 10 more, I guess. Or does today count as 10? Doesn't really matter. Basically, 10 weeks to go. Do you think that you can make up 10 games on Wilson, or do you think he's going to stay hot? It seems like whoever's hot stays hot. That's what happened last year.
Kind of, yeah. 10, I don't know. That's an early. It's a lot, but it is. There's some time. There's some time to catch up. I think I could do it.
Okay.
He's got to fall off eventually. I told him it was going to be this week.
Is it though? Is it going to be this week? It's much like the actual football teams. Like some of them, I can't figure out if this is the week that they're going to play bad or good. Like Purdue, for example. Last week was the week that they fell off, for sure. All right, I'm going to go right to your picks, Brad. I got them up on the screen now. Give us your top 3 bets of this weekend. Sorry about anyone that's watching, by the way. I'm moving the graphics around a little bit. I was kind of up against the gun starting this, but we're here now. What do you got, Brad?
Okay. Does it matter what order it's in?
Nah, just go for it.
I can't see the screen, so all right. All of mine are, I don't feel like crazy confident about, but of the picks this week, I felt the most, I guess. I don't know. I'm just going off of vibes, you know?
Ooh,
just kind of going off
like
of
that.
vibes, trying to see what we can do. All right. So getting right to it.
Sure.
I'm going Rutgers plus 3.5. I have not been overly impressed with Virginia Tech. They lost to Vanderbilt to open the season. Who's
Did
talking
they really?
about that? Yeah, in overtime.
What? I didn't know that.
They beat Marshall by 17 and Old Dominion by 20. Rutgers has been hot. They're coming off a bye. Could be good, could be bad, but I like them to win or lose by less than 3.5. So I'm going Rutgers. Haven't bet them this year, so I feel good about that. That's number 1. Number 2, I don't feel amazing about this, but I just haven't seen enough from Michigan's offense. I'm going USC to come in and cover that and win by a touchdown. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think USC is going to win by 7-10, and the line is 5.5, and that makes sense for me to bet that. Not too much else to say about that. I told myself that this is the week I was going to do an over and under. I've done horribly on over and unders the whole season, but this one I feel good about, and it's going to be Penn State versus Kent State over 56. Now, you might think, and those of you who can't see Wilson, which is everybody, shaking his head no. Let me back it up. Okay, I wrote some things down this week.
Okay. Man, I did the
Kent
exact
State.
opposite of you, dude. Like I did not write not with your picks, but like I didn't write anything down, and I have like no reasoning for my picks this week because I did so terrible last week. But what's your reasoning here on the over?
Kent State this season, their games are averaging 63 points per game,
Ooh, good to know.
including losing last week 71-0 to Tennessee.
That's 3 touchdowns over 49.
So if they can score at all, Penn State has been known to run up the scores. My boy Franklin is not scared to punch it in the fourth quarter when they're already up by 50. I like them, even themselves, getting above that 56. And like I said, if Kent State can throw in any points at all, I think that's butter. So I'm going over the 56 in that game.
That line right there with the over under is so interesting to me because it's basically saying that Penn State is going to win the game either 56-7 or 50 what would that be? 49-0. That's basically what they're saying with that line, I feel like, right? Am I reading that right? Because it's only the over-under is only 7 points higher than the spread is what I'm trying to get at here, which is super interesting. But I like that pick. I'll go back 2 picks first. I love Rutgers. That's also one of my locks. I'll get to mine in just a second. But the USC-Michigan game, there is such a discrepancy at the most important position. Alex Orji starting for Michigan and Miller Moss is he's 3 times as good of a passer as Alex Orji is. So I feel really confident about that pick as well. I also have USC minus 5.5, but it's not one of my locks. Wilson, any thoughts about his picks?
Just a counterpoint to his Penn State over. Penn State hasn't scored more than 34 points in a game this year. And Kent State has scored a total of 41 total points this year.
They lost 71-0 last week. That's why.
But they've scored 0 points.
It doesn't matter. They didn't need to score.
Penn State put up 34 against Bowling Green. Just saying.
Yeah, but all right, let me counter your counter. Kent State.
Well, I have a counter first, Brad. I think the counter you should say is that, well, Penn State's defense also let up 31 points against Bowling Green.
That's true. And Kent State gave up 23 points and lost to St. Francis, PA.
That's true.
Did they really? Oh, my God, dude. They're terrible.
My counter to that counter is
are we double
I'm 11 games ahead of you. So
you want to put some real money
in your corner and just put in your bets and just let me keep winning, man.
Ooh.
Yeah, but then let me counter your counter of the counter. This is where things get quiet. Listen, world. I know there's at least 3 people watching.
You think so?
Listen. After I say this sentence, just listen and see what happens. Ready?
I'm ready.
Let's put some real money on it.
No.
Okay. I like the dramatic pause, though. That was fun. All right, let's move on to the next one. I think I'm next. I am. My ticket's on the board now. Listen, like I said, last week I came super prepared. I spent like 45 minutes making notes about why I made each pick. And then today I spent 0 minutes because, yeah, exactly. I went under 500 last week, so I was so mad that I was just like, I'm making picks, and then I'll figure it out once the show starts. Here we go. I'll start with Oregon State, minus 5.5 against Purdue. Purdue ass last week. I can't pick them. I can't pick them with 5.5 points. Not after what I just saw them do against Notre Dame at home, by the way. Now they got to go on the road, cross the country. And you want me to just take them with only 5.5 points? I can't do it. Oregon State probably wins by 10, I'm thinking. If Purdue plays the way they did last week, they'll win by 30. Easily, I think, because that was a bad team. Staying on theme here, picking against the worst teams in the Big Ten, I'll take LSU minus 24 against UCLA. UCLA stinks. They stink. They're really stinky. They're a football team I don't like to watch. And I'll take LSU just LSU was fine in that USC game. Like, they were in that game with USC. I think that with them being at home against, man, like I said, the 18th best team in the Big Ten, if you want to spin it in a good way. They're in the top 20 in the Big Ten for sure. But just a really bad team. I'll take LSU minus 24. And then my last one was, again, and this was kind of like a toss-up for me, but I still just picked it because of what I've kind of stuck to since the summertime, is that I just do not like Washington. I'm not a big fan. The play call at the end of the game last week that cost them, I'm just not really convinced that they're better than Northwestern even. I've been saying that. This is the game that I've had circled since the summertime. If you're really good, you should be able to handle Northwestern at home, and maybe they will. But I'm taking the Cats, and I'm taking the 10.5. This was a week that I decided I am not taking an over-under, Brad, the exact opposite of you. So I'm just taking those three spreads against what I think are the three worst teams in the conference. Wilson, your thoughts?
I honestly did not like them.
Okay. That's really
no,
fair, though, because I've been
reason,
so bad. That's fair.
So, no, and it's the reason UCLA is bad, but LSU in 24 points, that's a lot. And I just don't trust Brian Kelly. They're so not consistent, so I don't trust them to beat UCLA that much. And I actually almost went with Washington to cover that 10.5 as my lock. So, but out of spite, because they screwed me on my three perfect picks last week, I did not make them my top three this week.
Okay. Brad, what did you think about my picks?
I didn't mind them as much as Wilson, I guess.
I'm surprised Wilson
that,
didn't say something about the Purdue game that I just mentioned with his hatred for Purdue.
right?
He's got to be with me on that, right?
Yeah, I think I was. Go ahead.
Did you take Oregon State minus
Yeah.
5.5? Yeah. Okay. I have the same. It's just I don't believe Purdue is that bad from what we saw last week, but maybe I'm wrong. But I'm just not that confident in them being that bad.
Well, I mean, this will be with this being their third game of the year, we'll, I think, really find out this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe I'm with you on the picks. I just didn't choose them as my most confident picks, so I like them. Except I think I took Washington. I can't trust Northwestern yet. They hurt me early in the season. I just haven't been impressed with what they've been putting out there. So if they win this game, they could swing me, but I'm not ready to do that yet. Also, real quick, speaking of Brian Kelly and LSU, I also had them covering because I think UCLA is, like you said, just absolute baby diaper pants. This is the I forgot how many years, but it's the anniversary of the Little Giants play, the Michigan State fake field goal versus Notre Dame.
14 years ago.
14 years ago.
What's that have to do with anything? I missed it.
Just because he said
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly.
Oh, okay.
And he was the coach of Notre Dame at the time. It's just my favorite clip of that whole play. Like, the play is awesome, but then they cut straight to him, and he's just like straight face. He's like, "Who had him?" And then like walks off the field. It was so funny. But yeah, he can't be trusted.
All right, let's swing over to Wilson's picks, and we can finish this thing up. Wilson, what do you got for us this week? Top three.
So I didn't really like a lot of these, so take that with a grain of salt. But my favorite one of the week is the USC to cover that 5.5. I find a lot of things Michigan's doing and weird, but I thought the weirdest thing was that they would announce that they were going to start Orgy, because I feel like you should have just not announced that, because now you give them a week to prepare for a running quarterback. Doesn't make sense to me very much, but anyway. So I like that USC minus 5.5 is my favorite. My second one is Iowa minus 2.5. Not really anything good to say about Iowa, but I can see them winning that game by a field goal. I like that better than the over-under on that, which was almost one of my locks. I had the over 35.5. But my last lock, and this is probably my favorite game for this week, is the Friday game of Nebraska and Illinois. Got Burt to cover that 7.5. I can see this being like a 21-17 or 24-17 game.
Do you think Illinois is going to win? Are you going that far?
They could, but I'm not going that far, no.
Okay.
Just because it's a night game and Nebraska's actually excited so far this year. They haven't hit the Scott Frost freeze yet.
I'm going to take the lead on the responses here, Brad, because I have so many thoughts. But firstly, I'm with you I'm not with you on the Illinois pick, but I am with you that is the game that I'm most excited about this weekend is that Friday night game. It's going to be super fun. I took Nebraska in that game, and if Illinois does win, I tweeted out that I will buy a Luke Altmaier jersey, and it's $140. So I need that to not happen for sure.
They got me with that half point. If it was like 6.5, I wouldn't have gone Illinois.
That made me think about it too, and I was like, I don't know. I just feel like I could see Nebraska pulling away from this game, like kind of like what they did. It was the same spread for Colorado, right? I think it was 7.5 in that game, and it was just like they kind of pulled away. And then, like I said, I wasn't happy with what Illinois did against Central Michigan last week, so that's why I was like, I think I'm going to go with Nebraska on this one. I do not like your Iowa pick, though. A team that just went toe-to-toe with Troy last week, I'm not loving them going on the road. So that's why I went with Minnesota on that. But second place on games I'm most excited about, though, I think that because of this rivalry and with the Cooper DeJean, like, invalid fair catch last year and just all the chatter, like, on social media between these two fan bases, I'm super excited to see – Twitter basically break down this weekend with that game. I hope there's a bad call, honestly. As a person who's not a fan of either of these teams, like a fanatic, I should say, I like them both. But, like, I hope there's another bad call that, like, kind of costs somebody the game. That would be great. Either way, because, like, if it's in favor of Minnesota, Iowa is just going to be like, here we go again. And then if it's in favor of Iowa, it's like, well, you got the call last year. And then I already said I like your USC pick, so I'll just let that ride. Brad, what did you think about his picks? You still there, brother?
He froze.
Question
for you, though. I mean, what is your why would they announce that orgy is starting? Like, do you agree with me on that take?
Oh, yeah, 100%. That was so dumb.
Yeah.
So dumb. Brad, you froze for a second, but I asked you what you thought of Wilson's picks. It was USC, Iowa, and Illinois, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, USC was one of mine as well, so I love that one. The other two I'm not a fan of. Nebraska was actually going to be one of my locks, but I took it off because I wanted to do the over-under. I think Nebraska is going to win by 21. I'm going to tease that line up, actually. I think Illinois has been a fluke so far, and I think Nebraska has figured some stuff out. I think they're going to put it to them.
Are you saying their quarterback is Fluke Altmaier?
We'll see what happens. What?
Are you calling their quarterback Fluke Altmaier?
Fluke Altmaier. I guess I am.
I hope you're right, because I do not want to buy a Fluke Altmaier jersey.
And then I don't hate the Iowa Minnesota one. That's just one I stayed away from because I just wasn't. I don't love what could happen in that game. So it's not like a bad pick. I couldn't put it as my lock for sure.
I'm not saying it's a bad pick either. I just don't like what Iowa did against Troy last week. That makes me super nervous.
I mean, Minnesota they threw up that stupid loss against North Carolina, but then they've had 2 shutouts since then. They didn't play anybody, but they didn't give them any points.
And North Carolina's good, by the way.
Think about.
North Carolina's good.
They're decent.
Did you guys go over or under on that game?
On the Iowa game, I went over. Brad's the only one that took the under.
Under, yeah.
It's not enough points.
Yeah.
Like that should be at like I would anticipate that line moves up before Saturday. Like the over under, I think it'll be near like 38.
Well, then I'll take the under the 38 then. That'd be dope.
Well, we're locked in, baby. Do you think that
Lockdown Spartans, baby.
I know I've talked about this 4 different times already, but do you think that I should moneyline bet Illinois like half the cost of the jersey so that if they do win, I don't have to pay as much for it? Is that a smart move? Like hedge my bet, or do I just go all in?
Hedging your.
Or do I just go
could go
all in and be
yeah.
like, I could not have to spend any money here
Yeah.
if Nebraska
All in.
wins?
Could be
All
up
in.
money, in fact.
All in? Okay, I'm not betting it then. I thought about betting the money line Illinois just to save myself, but I won't do it then. I like that.
You should double down and bet Nebraska. Win some money.
That makes me scared though. That makes me nervy.
Nervy pervy.
Nervy pervy. All right, that's the show. I got to get out of here in just a couple of minutes. Anything else you guys want to end on here, Wilson? You got anything for us?
Just that I'm pissed that Boston College and Michigan State's being shown on the ACC network. That's some bullshit.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. I don't even know if I have that channel.
I do not.
I get it.
Do you have YouTube? Is it on YouTube TV?
Yeah.
Oh, I have it then. I'll send you my credentials, Wilson. I got
Thanks,
you.
man.
I got you, bro. I sent my niece my credentials last week so she could watch the Lions lose. Oh, if anyone's still listening at this point, Brad, I'm going to steal your thunder real quick if you had anything, which you usually don't. But I did tweet out it's a link to the Google Forms so everybody can make picks that follows me on Twitter. And whoever wins, I'm going to actually give them a shout-out on next week's show. I think I only had one response when we started. Let me just double-check here. And it was Chief TJC. So you get a shout-out already, and if no one else submits one, then you're going to win, bro. We should have just, like, went through his picks the whole time. Let's see. He's got the under, too, Brad. Shout out to Chief T. What was
Chief
it?
Keef.
Chief
Chief
Keef.
TJ.
That's such a hard name to say. Chief
I don't
TJC.
know.
TJC.
It's not hard.
Chief TJC. Chief
Nailed
T is like hard, right? Back to
Chief
back.
T. TJC.
Okay, whatever. Anything? You got anything to, or Brad? Do
No.
you have anything to?
No,
add?
no,
Okay.
no. Thank you.
All right, we'll be back next Wednesday. Good luck on your picks. Happy betting. We are not professionals, so don't listen to anything that we